everybody, to We Geek Podcast. Today is Wednesday, October 26th, episode 79. My name is Adam, joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up, man? And how's your week been?
It's been crazy.
Crazy?
Yeah. Work's been work. My girlfriend moved in, so we're trying to.
Oh,
And there wasn't enough space for one person in here to begin with. So it's fun, really, trying to fit like three people's worth of stuff into a like 9 by 12 room.
there you go. Jeez.
So
That's fun.
Yeah, so if there's any quality issues, it's on me. I'm on a really awkward setup this week.
Yeah, no problem, man, no problem. Well, my week hasn't been that eventful. I went to the Food and Wine Festival at Disney,
There you go.
but no, but I mean that's really it. I've been playing. Oh, yeah, I talked about this last week, didn't I? I got the VR.
I think you said you were looking at it, like you had
Okay.
either almost gotten it or were gonna get it.
Okay, so I got it. I got the VR. So, I've been okay. So yeah, I guess I haven't done the show since then. I've been messing around with that, uh, and it's been fun. So I'll kind of talk about that later,
Nice.
in the show. But yeah, no, it's it's everything I thought it was gonna be. That like I'll talk about some of the games that I demoed and the games that I purchased and the ones that I do want to purchase. Um, but yeah, man, no, the fun that I've had is having friends who would never even look at it, put it on, not knowing what to expect, and be completely blown away.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's been fun. Where they're like, "What is that thing? That looks weird." Okay, well, holy shit! I'm like, "Look around, look to the right, look to the left, put your hands out." And I was like, their minds are blown, just
Yeah.
completely blown. And it's not, it's expensive. It's definitely expensive. It's like buying a new console, but then I immediately compare it. I go, well, the HR or the VR for the PC, that's about a $900 buy-in compared to what kind of computer you have to have. So they're immediately like, oh, okay, well that's a little bit more reasonable. So
Right. That's on top of the computer too.
exactly. So and that's the thing. Most of my friends have the PlayStation anyway. So
Yeah.
it's definitely, I'll talk more about it later. It's definitely something that's not needed. Like I don't need this at all. No one needs this. It's just a fun little enhancement thingy, I guess. I was surprised about the smaller games that I enjoyed more than the bigger games. Like there's like a Pong game. I forget the name of it, but it's where you use like your face as the paddle, pretty much. And you look up and the paddle moves to the left and in front of you and the ball comes towards you, and I don't know, I sat and played that more than I did like Batman.
Nice.
Yeah, just because it was, I don't know, it was fun. It reminded me of like old arcade games. Um, yeah, it's just everything yeah, I guess that's the right word. It felt very much like an arcade. And I loved that. It was fun. It wasn't these like, I guess I haven't played that much of Batman. I imagine that's the one that's going to be like engrossing and, uh, with story and whatnot. But I don't know. So I'll talk more about that later. We got a lot of big news that happened this week that I imagine we're going to take some time to talk about. Um, the NX thing we'll talk about later in video games. Uh, the Switch, now it's officially called. But there was some other big trailers that dropped. You want to go ahead and take the first one?
Yeah, I got a trailer this week.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna make these jokes until this comes out on Blu-ray. I swear to God.
Oh man, no, I imagine
Uh,
you would. Dude, this has to be one of the best trailers I've
oh,
ever seen.
it was so good. It
I
was
must have watched
seriously
it
good.
20 times.
And I love, the uh, and a lot of the same tropes, the last gunslinger kind of thing. Oh, they said it to Johnny Cash. Like so many of those things are almost tropes anymore. But on occasion, you get something like this where you wouldn't want it any other way. Where
Right.
this is just
It
like
was
the
perfect.
perfect way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was. It was everything I was hoping it would be. I heard someone call it the smart man's no, I'm sorry, the Thinking Man's X-Men, and I kind of liked that
Yeah.
because it has a completely different tone than, at least from what we see from the trailers, than any of the other X-Men films, you know?
Yeah. It's a Wolverine film because the last one was a little more. I don't want to say grounded because we had the Silver Samurai, but
Right,
but it was a little more. It was more focused. It
right,
was
more
much more of
focused.
a character story than it was an ensemble, and you get to be when you can do something like that, you can focus a little more on the introspection, and it's a little more grounded, a little more uh, centralized just around this character.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I could. The thing is, back a while ago when remember when we heard there was going to be a Wolverine's origin film and there was going to be a Magneto origin film. I could totally see them doing a Magneto film kind of like this, where those are the two characters and actors that just really, could pull that off. And I don't know, just in the trailer, and a lot of comparison that I noticed I picked up immediately was The Last of Us
Yeah.
in the trailer. It just screamed to me of The Last of Us. That I wonder if Sony's like, damn it, you know, like now if we do Last of Us, everyone's gonna compare it to this. But yeah, it was just I don't know, I just like loved the trailer, how it went to the song. You know, I don't want to get into spoilers because if you've read, you know, um, Old Man Logan, you kind of know where this is headed or why the world is how it is. And I think all I'll say is they immediately hinted at that at the very beginning of the trailer.
Yeah, they
Um,
did a little bit, and that's if
yeah,
that element is something that they include, that's gonna be genuinely shocking.
it is. Yeah, because last time we left off with these characters, you know, the in the timeline, um, everything was good.
Yeah,
Wolverine was back in school and Jean was alive and everything was good. So I'm curious where this falls. Uh, I'm also curious, at the end of it, like what are they going to do? Obviously, this is what they're saying is this is Hugh Jackman's last ride. This is his last movie. Who knows what they do moving forward? Who knows, what they do with Wolverine um, as his character or his offspring or whatnot, um, or all the other characters that take the title and whatnot. Um, I'm curious what happens after that because that's a huge character to kind of put on the shelf. I know they have Deadpool now, and that's kind of their golden ticket. But for since Fox have done superhero movies, it's always been Wolverine, I think, as their guy that sells tickets. So I'm curious what they do. I'm curious how they where they go from this, and if they go further into the future, or if after that they take a second and reboot things. Who knows?
and I think they go back. I think this is one of those that like it exists in continuity, but it's so far down the road.
Is it
Like,
that far though? I think they
yes,
said it was like 2020 or something.
no, there's no way it's that. Well, but I mean, here's the thing: in their timeline, they're still in the '80s, so
Oh, that's
they've
true.
got 40 years in their timeline that they can go through.
That's true.
So they'll
That's
have
true.
so they'll have plenty of time for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know what
That's
the
right.
next one they wanted to do like a '90s X-Men or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, oh man, 90s X-Men, that's gonna look cool. Yeah, that's the one I can't wait for. But yeah, no, man, this is in the name on it. Kudos to you. That's perfect because it is it feels like a personal film for
Right, and I
him.
I love that it's not Wolverine.
Right.
That they're not using the superhero name of it, but they're using the person name.
Yeah.
That says more about the tone I think than anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is, I mean, when we see him, uh, obviously protecting that girl. That is Wolverine. That's Logan. That is him to a T. That's what he's kind of always been in the comics. Everyone sees him as the guy with the claws, and he's the best there is at what he does, and he heals really fast and all this stuff. But all of the best stories is him being like a father figure and guiding these kids, kind of like Professor X was. And that's why, I think why in the comics, when Professor X died, he was the guy who took over as the headmaster, because that's what he does. And so I don't know. I think it looks, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but it looks like the most authentic type of X-Men film.
Yeah.
So, just from the trailer, I got all that from the trailer. Who knows? The movie could be garbage, but it looks really good. But yeah, is there anything else we want to say about it? I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs and stuff, but I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, they hinted at this, that, and some other things, but I mean, that's what they do. They drop all the little and here's this for you. I think, especially because of how well Deadpool did,
Right.
they're taking a really strong look at the idea of fan service.
Mm-hmm.
Just being like,
Oh
what's a
yeah.
way we can do this, the way that the Marvel movies do it, but we're not gonna say that.
Right. Exactly. Well, hey, when we get into the spoiler section at the end of the show, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Once we put the big, hey, do not listen anymore if you have not read the comic sort of thing.
Right.
Um, but yeah, man. So that's not the only trailer teaser thing we got this week. We got Guardians 2.
Yeah, and it looked more like the Guardians. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we didn't see any of the new people.
no, it didn't.
Yeah, that was a bit odd, I thought.
Well,
We
but I
didn't
mean,
see.
it was like a minute teaser.
Yeah.
It was just supposed to be, hey guys, they're back, and then whenever they decide to release the trailer, which I'm sure will probably be before Doctor Strange.
Yeah, well, I imagine it was going to be with Doctor Strange, or like you said, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
like a
what I
few days
meant. Yeah,
before. Yeah. So, oh wait, that's next week, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Yeah. I'm in a group where I saw some people from England saw it, and they said it was one of their favorite Marvel films. So
Yeah, it's been getting good reviews.
now I would love a Doctor Strange VR game. That would be amazing.
Well, hey, Marvel. We know that Marvel and Telltale are working on something, but we still
Oh,
don't know
that's true.
what.
Yeah. Oh, imagine a Telltale game in VR. That would be crazy.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, that would actually be really cool. Um, but no, I mean like I don't know necessarily like a Telltale game. I mean like an actual like you're doing the spells with the wand things. And it just going all around you, and suddenly reality's breaking away below you. Like they could do some really cool stuff in VR with
Yeah.
Doctor Strange. Um, when I saw the trailer after playing with VR, that's what I immediately thought. I thought, oh, that would be so cool in VR. I imagine someone at Marvel and Sony are going, hey, let's get on this, because that could be really cool.
I
Even if it was just like a little experience thing
True.
that you got in for 10 or 20 minutes, and maybe like a free download or something like that to promote the movie, like that would be really cool. Um,
I'm surprised there's not one for Fantastic Beasts.
yeah,
Are
exactly. I
like
mean, who knows? There might be. Apparently, there's new things dropping all the time in it. I
okay.
just haven't looked. It's one thing about the store where like I wish I could. I went to VR, and then like I had to dive deep to get like all of VR instead of like here's the top things, here's the best things, here's the new things. It's like, can I just get a list of everything? And I finally found that after digging. But yeah. Um yeah, man. Let's see here. Oh, we got some Deadpool 2 news. You want to go ahead and take it?
Yeah, we got a lot of Deadpool 2 news.
Yeah.
So apparently Tim Miller is out as
That's
director.
weird.
He and Reynolds had some creative differences.
That's not good.
Yeah. From what they're saying, Tim wanted to do like a more stylized version,
Mhm.
and Ryan wanted to kind of keep it a little more towards the comics.
Right.
And remember a while back we talked about I forget the guy's name who they were looking at casting as Cable,
Right.
and Tim Miller was really behind that and thought it was a great idea. Ryan did not, and the studio went with him on it. So they clashed over the Cable casting as well, and apparently Tim said, "You know what? Fine, I'm out."
Wait, so the studio did not want Cable?
They didn't. They sided with Ryan Reynolds. He was like, "No, nah, I don't want this guy."
Oh, you're saying the actor.
Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay. So we don't know though yet, right?
Right. When I mean, this is kind of where it's sort of like here's what people are
Right.
saying kind of thing.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay. So basically, there was a guy they were going to pick that Tim Miller liked. Ryan Reynolds did not like him, and the studio sided with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so he threw his hands up and said, "Okay, well, can't do this."
Yeah. That and the other creative differences, which is always just such a bullshit
Right.
catch-all term.
Right. Exactly.
But we've got a reported shortlist for people who are going to be cast as Domino.
Okay.
It's either going to be Lizzie Kaplan from The Interview, Mary Elizabeth Winstead from Scott Pilgrim and a whole bunch of other stuff, Sienna Miller from American Sniper, Sofia Boutella from Kingsman, Stephanie Sigman from Spectre, and Sylvia Hoeks from Blade Runner 2049.
Who do you like?
I don't know. I kind of like. I'm a little personally biased towards Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I really like her.
Hmm.
I don't really like Sienna Miller for this one. I would go with Sofia Boutella. I would. I think she would be
Yeah.
the. I think she'd be the best choice.
Yeah, I'm looking at her. She looks definitely like the part. Out of all the actresses, when I was going through them, I was like, "Oh, that definitely looks like Domino."
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be that would be great, man. I don't know. I think we're still gonna be good. I don't think it's like doomed or anything like that. Whenever you see someone drop off because something like that, it's not normally good news. Um, but I don't know. I have faith. They still have their writing staff. They still have they still have a lot of good people behind the movie. It's just I did see some petitions. People wanted Quentin Tarantino to direct it.
I think that's the most brilliant idea ever. I love that idea.
Yeah, that would be crazy. The thing is, it wouldn't be in in a sense that would be great, but it would not be Deadpool. I don't think it would be completely different style.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of where Miller wanted to go. It sounded
Right.
like they wanted a more, they wanted a completely different kind of tone and style, and that was something that apparently Ryan was dead set against. So I
Yeah,
think
because
that's
that
it's almost like, okay, well, we're not going to get Tim Miller. What if we get Tarantino? It's kind of like, okay, well, we didn't want to go like a mile down this road. What if we go 12? You know.
right. Yeah, it would. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't feel like Deadpool at all if it was Tarantino, but it would be a fun experiment. But dude, I don't think they want to. They don't want to break what's you know. They don't want to fix what's not broken. Like this
Right.
was huge for them, so I imagine they're gonna want to play it safe, even though not playing it safe is what got them there in the first place. But you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I don't know.
I think this would be like a good idea for like some shorts. Get
Yeah, yeah.
do like get like five or six wildly different directors to do like a few minutes, give them each like a 5 or 6 minute short to do
Yeah,
and do
exactly.
that. That would be cool because you could get Tarantino, you could get Alfonso Cuarón, you could get I don't even know. Um,
Well, after watching Black Mirror on Netflix, I got to thinking, why doesn't Marvel have a show 10 episodes long or 13 or whatever, where every episode was its own kind of story with one of their random superheroes that's not on screen yet. And it's its own little boom boom story, and then depending on how the popularity on it, they can pull from that. So like You see what I'm saying? Like it'd be like every episode's its own hour-long thing. And I'm sorry, not 10 episodes. It'd be like 4 or 5 or 6 like Black Mirror is. So it's like you'd get a handful of episodes. And then what they can do is afterwards they can kind of figure out, oh, people really liked episode 3 with Moon Knight, bam, he'll get his own series.
Perfect.
Like that would be a cool little experiment to do.
And that could get them to do some of the weird ones too, you know? That could be the way
You know?
they do something like Devil Dinosaur.
Exactly.
Just something
Exactly.
crazy off the wall like that. That would be awesome. Yeah. It's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, a little anthology series. That would be awesome.
Exactly. And it would be a really great barometer to see like, okay, which ones of these really popped?
Yep,
And
exactly.
if nothing else, say none of them carry over, none of them have like tremendous massive appeal.
Right.
You're still going to have a solid little series, Marvel
Yep.
and it doesn't even have to be, Marvel Presents.
Hmm.
You could really just title it that. And
Yep.
each episode title is what you fill in. Like you don't have to get kooky with it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be perfect. That would be a really cool way to introduce these just complete left field characters that that might stick and how depending on how an audience reacts to it. It's just like Black Mirror. Not every episode is good. Some of them are duds, but when they hit, they hit. And so if they had a few that hit really well and people were like, "Oh, that is such a cool character," hire different directors for each movie, just make them all completely different
Yeah.
tones and whatnot, and see what sticks. And there you go. And it's a good barometer. So I don't know. So that would be really cool. That's how I could see them doing something like that. Just kind of experimenting. Like you could have a Tarantino style one, or you could have like a Guardian style one. But I think that it'd all still be pretty grounded. But you know what I mean? Like one more comedic, one more
Right.
all dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We got some other amazing news here. Our boy Donald Glover, cast as Lando Calrissian in Han Solo's standalone film.
Who else?
Yeah, exactly.
Like who else? Like he is perfect for this. He really is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, when I saw that, we saw it a few weeks ago where it was like he's kind of on the short list or people rumored they're looking at him, and I'm glad he got it, man. His Atlanta show, I've talked about it on here before. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. And when we were thinking about who could play him in the Han Solo movie, it never really hit me. I guess I guess I assumed he might be in it, and they would just cast somebody. I really kind of either wanted an unknown or Donald Glover, just because I think of like a young, uh, uh,
Billy D.
oh,
Williams.
Billy D. Yeah, wow, I forgot his name for a second. Billy D. Williams. That's the only actor I really think that could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the look, he's got the charisma. It's really well.
He's got the
But
swagger for sure.
oh yeah,
He,
absolutely.
he could absolutely he's got the kind of personality where he could just walk into a room and at the same time own it and be hated by everyone in it.
Exactly. And apparently we're gonna see how he loses the Falcon.
Well, I mean that would be because he lost it to Han.
Yep.
So I mean that's
Yeah.
I mean look, with Han Solo it's three characters. It's Han, Chewie and the Falcon.
Yep. Yeah,
So I
that's
mean
true.
that's that you would have to have that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. We got some Rogue One news. A film to open December 15th in the UK, so that's a little bit early for them.
Yeah, they get it a day early, I think.
Yeah.
Damn Brits.
So just gotta stay off the internet.
Yeah, right. No Twitter. No Twitter for a
Yeah.
day.
Now, did they
Yeah.
get
They got
episode 7 early?
Yeah, they did. They got it early too.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, just
Okay, time to move.
guess.
Time to move to the UK.
Yeah, how are they? Oh, it's filmed there. That's probably why they're.
I would imagine so. As a thank you for like, hey, the
Right.
tax incentives and everything are nice, but we're gonna pay you back with this too.
It seems like Disney's doing that a lot more lately. They did that. I mean, uh, uh, the Doctor Strange just came out in the UK.
Really,
Yeah, I believe so. That's where that kid saw it. Maybe it was an early screening.
might have been. I'll have to check on that, because otherwise I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to move.
Yeah. Uncharted, the film, revived with Sean Levy. Night of the Museum tapped to direct.
Yeah, just when you thought Nathan Drake was out, he's back.
Yep. Yeah, that's what
I
it seems like, right?
Yeah, and that did just kind of come completely out of left field yesterday. It was like, oh hey, by the way, here's this. I was like, whoa,
Right.
it should be
Yeah.
bigger news than like because I found out from Yahoo Movies, which
Right.
no
Yeah.
disrespect to them, but usually like something like IGN or even like Nerdist would have like they would pounce on that in a heartbeat.
I think they're like, we've. This is the boy who cried wolf.
Possibly, very very
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, all right. So Sony's deciding to get on the Uncharted now, but I don't know. Um, we'll see. We got some Godzilla 2 news. Michael Daughtry, Superman Returns X2, reportedly hired to write and direct upcoming sequel.
Yeah, not too long after we went up last week, he was hired on as a screenwriter. And then a few
Oh,
days ago, they were like, hey, you know what? Maybe we get this guy to direct, too.
well, there we go. Yep,
So, okay, project moving forward.
yep. Prometheus 2, Xenomorphs apparently to be named Neomorphs in upcoming film.
Yeah, sure. I don't care. I know it's supposed to be, what is it, Alien, Paradise Lost, whatever that is. It's Prometheus 2, because I don't want people getting their hopes up.
Right.
But that's the way I'm always going to look at it. It's like, it's an Alien movie. No, it's not, because those were, well, at least a couple of them were good.
Right. Yeah.
it, Resurrection was not, but, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
okay, fine. They've got a name for him. That's all right. Whatever.
Yeah. Why the difference between Xenomorphs and Neomorphs?
Who knows? I don't know.
I'm like, what's okay? Um, let's see here. We got some Indiana Jones 5 news.
Yeah, David Cope, who's writing it, says that Lucas is not involved with the story.
So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with yeah.
Yeah. I know that's kind of a cynical way to look at it, but I think that's what a lot of people on the internet are like. Okay, we might like this one.
I mean, look, sorry. After the prequels, like that kind of tanked any of Lucas's like creative goodwill.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
did good work, you created this stuff, and then you came along and you kind of ruined it.
Right. Well,
So
I mean, even with the last Indiana Jones, I thought the idea was cool, but the payoff just it was weird with the monkeys in the trees and stuff like that. It just didn't.
yeah, it was. Indiana Jones movies need to be less effects heavy, less visual effects heavy. Go back
Oh,
to
I
a
agree.
go back to a traditional old style, just adventure film. I mean,
Hmm.
that's what that's based on. Is just this pioneering kind of adventure film. Like this whole thing of like, oh look, and the dashing guy in the jungle, and like, and then but they play on that, and that's what makes
Yeah.
it great. Don't worry about like, oh this effect shot's gonna be great. Screw that. Enjoy, make it an enjoyable film first. Make it a fun story, and then go from there.
Right. Don't make it like King Kong, where it just seems like they're running through green screen of things attacking them.
You're right, right.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get into more movie news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we got some more movie news. You go ahead and take this next one. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, Philip Reeve did it was a sci-fi series. I forget if it was, I think it was a young adult series. It was called The Mortal Engines.
Okay.
And apparently that's going to be Peter Jackson's next project over at Universal.
Oh, so we're not getting Skyrim.
Right. No,
Well,
no,
that's cool.
yeah, no Elder Scrolls movies for us anytime soon.
Oh man, I would love an Elder Scrolls movie. Oh, that game just came out, didn't it? The remaster.
Friday.
Oh, I thought it came out today
No,
or
it
Tuesday.
comes out Friday. I know it's weird, right?
It is. I'll definitely be picking that up. I want to go through that game again for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, before I forget, this Friday I think is when Target Friday or Saturday is when Target starts their buy two games get one free, and it's like all games.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're looking to get any new games or anything, this upcoming week is the week to do it. They're getting ready for Christmas and everything. So, uh, yeah, definitely check your local Target ad for that. Should be this weekend. Um, so heads up. Um, let's see here. Where were we? Where were we? Okay, Willy Wonka. Warner Brothers developing film focused on character. David Heyman to produce. So
Yeah.
it's just like a prequel?
It didn't say, but I'm guessing like it would kind of have to be. That's the only part of that we haven't explored already,
Right.
for better or
Wasn't
worse.
there this Willy Wonka came from a book, right? Charlie and Chocolate Factory?
Right, and there was a sequel book,
Okay.
and it was
Oh, there
weird.
was. Yeah, because I believe I read something about like they want to explore um I'm sorry, they wanted to explore or they wanted to like open up the Willy Wonka world as to make like a series, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Which
Uh,
I don't know if there's an audience for that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't know where's the audience for this. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I just looked up the ad. It is the 30th through the 5th. So that's this Sunday through Saturday
Right. So
for
it's all
Target.
yeah. So it's pretty much all next week.
It's all next week, and I mean they have pictures of Call of Duty and Skyrim and all that other stuff in there. So,
Nice.
uh, yeah, Mafia, 2K, Battlefield, all that stuff. So that should all be buy two get one free. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Warner Brothers kind of that's I don't. I mean, how many more Willy Wonkas? I don't know. I liked the original. I saw parts of the remake, and I wasn't a fan. But it wasn't aimed at me, So I imagine kids like the movie because it's all weird and wacky. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
with you. I don't see a big audience for this. Although I would have thought there wasn't a big audience for Alice in Wonderland either, but boy was I wrong.
yeah, that's you're right. Yeah, I mean, Alice in Wonderland I think goes deeper than Willy Wonka though. Like I don't know. There's more of a cultural thing to that, right?
Yeah, but the movie sucked.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, we got Sam Phillips, Leonardo DiCaprio to star an upcoming biopic about Sun Studios producer.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Tell me about it. What's
Sam Phillips is the guy behind. He was the guy at Sun Studios behind, pretty much behind Elvis. Basically, that was the big claim to fame that he had. But
okay.
they did a whole bunch of different artists, which for some bizarre reason escaped me for a moment. Um, Johnny Cash was another one. Um,
Oh, that makes
but
sense.
but like Elvis was the big one. That was
Jerry Lee Lewis,
yeah.
Johnny Cash, and Elvis Presley. Yeah, those are the three big ones for him, I
Yeah.
guess.
So that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be a fun little biopic.
He was also a early investor in Holiday Inn chain of hotels.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yep. He also advocated for racial equality and helped break down racial barriers in the music industry. That makes sense.
Well, sure. I mean, rock and roll is basically white guys doing black music.
Yeah, rock and roll. Well,
I
yeah.
mean, look, love it or hate it, that was pretty much how it started.
Oh yeah, yeah. It says noteworthy for his rhythm and blues, country, and rock and roll. So yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense. So that's gonna be interesting. That's cool. I love Leo. He any movie he's in, you know, any movie he does, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. See
Right.
what it is.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, let's get into some TV news here. We got some. Oh, you go ahead and take this one. I know you want it.
Yeah, there was finally an actual, like, because we've had teasers and posters, and Netflix has been tweeting really mean, horrible teases about this, and we finally got a full trailer for the next Gilmore Girls mini season that they're doing, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a complete and total fan service trailer that worked. It hit all the right notes of like, okay, here's what the episodes are gonna be kind of about. So you
Hmm.
got like an actual substantive trailer, and they crammed it full of just about every kind of like little fan service bit of everything you could want. It was awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so
You
I'll
haven't
definitely
seen
check
the
it out.
show, so you'll look at it and you'll probably be like, oh, okay, that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
Like you'll get the main points, which is fine.
yeah, yeah. No, I'll definitely check it out. I'm wondering if you think this is all purely for the fans, or do you think someone could come in and watch this last mini thingy and still enjoy it?
I uh, I'm hesitant to say that just because it's on the same line of like it is the next season basically.
Right,
So I would really hesitate to be like, oh yeah, you could jump in here and get this. I don't think so. Just because I
right,
don't, that's not really something you could do with a lot of TV. If you jump
right.
in like in season, because this would really be like season 8. So if
Okay.
you were gonna jump into to any show that late, you're gonna be asking like, oh, who's this? What's that? Why are these important? Just by the nature of coming in so late.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're
Okay.
more than welcome to give it a shot, but but I
I'm
I
curious.
I do think you would be like, oh, why is this important? Why is this a thing? What is just by the nature of these things have been established for so many seasons now.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. Um, we got some Jessica Jones news. Season 2 to be directed completely by female directors.
I love this news. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's awesome. Absolutely. Did we talk about? I don't see it here, but did we talk about the actors that joined the cast of The Punisher
No,
last week?
they got another new list.
Yeah. Well, is it the same ones? Okay, so is it Daniel Weber from 11/22/63 has been cast as Lewis Walcott, Walcott, a young veteran who has difficult time reassembling to civilian society. We have Jason R. Moore joins as Curtis Hoyle, a friend of Frank Castle's and one of the few people he knows is still alive. Paul Schultz from Nurse Jackie will play Rollins, a high-ranking member of the CIA whose operations in Afghanistan intersect with Frank Castle. Jamie Ray Newman from Bates Motel plays Sarah Lieberman, Micro's wife, uh, played by Ebon Moss Barack, whose marriage has made her life far more complicated. And Michael Nathanson from Wolf of Wall Street has been cast as Sam Stein, a Homeland agent who is challenged by his partnership with uh, Dana, which is played by Amber Ross Reba. So those are some of the new cast members
Nice.
for it. Yeah, and yeah, so I don't know. There's some Punisher news. Um, so excited for that and Jessica Jones. I think that's awesome about Jessica Jones. All female directors. It's perfect.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, have you been watching any of Legends of Tomorrow?
I have not.
Oh my God, it is so Doctor. It is more Doctor Who this season than I ever thought they could possibly get.
Really?
Like honestly, if they've not made an official announcement, like they are, it is Doctor Who. Like it is to the T, time traveling. I feel like I'm watching Wishbone here because they're, they're just time traveling and they're changing their outfits. It feels like Star Trek. Episode 9 of this new season is called Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like they are
Oh
just
no,
so
come
on the
on
nose.
now.
They are so on the nose. They are traveling to different time period, and it's perfect. It is so, yeah. Like this show, I honestly thought you would absolutely love, just because of how wacky and you know Doctor Who it is. Because it's so good. It's so good. I'm glad this exists. you
Good,
know.
good, good, good.
Yeah. So the seasons have been pretty good. They've done. It was a little cheesy with the Justice Society of America, but um, it looks just like the Justice Society. Like to the T of what I imagined them looking like. But I guess they were always a little cheesy to begin with.
Well, sure, Golden Age.
Yeah, exactly. So they meet up with them and shenanigans happen, and they're building up basically the what are the villains called? The
What do you look for?
Not the
The
Justice League,
the Legion
but
of
the
Doom.
villain Legion of Doom. That's it. Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
They
That's right. Yeah, they're doing that.
Yeah, you're seeing the guy from sorry, just a little off today, but the bad guy from the last season of Arrow.
Oh, Damien Dark.
Damien Dark, yes, and the Flash's villain, the one Ed Arc, not Ed Arc. Oh my
Eobard
gosh,
Thawne. Is that who you're looking for?
that's it. Yeah. So you seeing them start to like team up, and then you see other villains come into the fold, and you're just like, oh, okay, this is going. They're literally doing that, so it's perfect. It's so good. But yeah, I'm loving it so far, and it's it's just so on the nose. It's so good. Um, but yeah, all right. So we got some Knight Rider news.
Yeah, apparently Justin Lin really, really loves things about cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not enough that he's done Fast and Furious and that he's doing Hot Wheels, but he's doing. The interesting thing is he's doing a Knight Rider series for Machinima.
Oh, really?
And that's the interesting part. They couldn't get it on a network because it's a horrible, awful, terrible idea.
Hmm.
So they're gonna do a digital series, um,
Okay.
where it will die an ignoble death,
Right.
as it deserves.
Yeah. um, did you see that the Big Bang Theory's Jim Parsons is going to produce a new CW series based on a Zach Helm novel called The Terranauts?
No, I hadn't seen that.
Okay.
I've never heard of that either.
Let me. It says the Terranauts is described as an epic story of science, society, sex, survival, and ultimately human folly and ambition. Said to inspired by the Biosphere 2 real-life experiment. The story revolves around 8 scientists enlisted to run a biosphere that will prove vital for humanity's survival in an off-Earth colony. Their goal is to successfully create a sustainable environment, house generations to come, but things don't go quite as planned.
Well, yeah, because Biosphere 2 was a catastrophe, if I remember right.
Biosphere 2. I've never seen that.
Uh,
I've
no,
seen
uh,
Biodome.
no, I mean. Ah,
That was a catastrophe.
ah, okay, okay.
Yeah. Um, let's see here. What else? What other news we got here?
They're making a Candy Crush game show.
A game show?
Game show, not a series, a freaking game show. They're making this. My head's gonna explode here. So apparently,
Oh,
they're going to be. They're going to. It's
it's
going to be interactive with the people at home because
you know
of
what,
course it is.
Logan. I know that's got to be upsetting for you, but the moment you said that, I honestly thought about my grandma. She would have loved that, man. And the thing is, I'm sure I'm not alone, but a lot of people's moms and grandparents love that game. They still play it. They're the ones that still play that game. I could totally see that community. This is the same community that gets up and watches The Price is Right. Love that kind of game.
I thought about that comparison. I did,
Oh
but
man,
yeah, but I mean, here's the thing: nobody is guessing. Nobody's actively participating in the Showcase Showdown from home. There's not.
that's true. That's
There's
true. I don't know if that's going to be a disconnect,
yeah,
but I could totally because think about it. Candy Crush's audience right now. It's not me and you. We got off that train a long time ago. It's not really people our age. It is the older crowd.
right.
They're the ones still playing Words with Friends and still playing those kind of games. And it's I mean literally my parents, my grandparents, I see them constantly playing those games, the ones that we got off a long time ago. I could totally see an audience for that, but interactive, yes. I don't that's you're
I
not you wouldn't have got my grandma in being able to do that. She loved to do um the Wheel of Fortune stuff like that, where like you enter in a contest at the end of the game or whatever. But
right.
that's it. It wasn't like press one on a what do you like bring up an app and tap something?
I would guess.
Yeah, that is really odd. That
Uh,
is really odd.
I don't know.
So, well, I definitely want to pay attention to that to see what that turns out to be. But who knows? Who knows? That's weird.
Yeah.
We got to take a quick break.
Okay.
Are we out of
We'll
time
do that.
or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, all right. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get into some video game news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and let's get into some video game news.
Yeah, a couple big things this week. We're gonna talk about Nintendo Switch here in a second,
Yeah.
but the video game actors portion of the SAG-AFTRA union started a strike on the 21st, on midnight Pacific on the 21st. They have been negotiating for about 2 years over the idea of sessions being cut down to 2 hours. There have been a couple other things. There was the idea of, what was it, like stunt pay or something along those lines for like the big, like, how many times do you see blood curdling scream on a script? And I you know I side with the actors unions partially out of principle, because I do,
Mm-hmm.
if there's anything to the history of Hollywood you learn, it's that they will, studios have always been about themselves because it's a business. Like, there's an honesty to both sides here. But there's, just from when I did the portions of an audiobook I did just to see how that goes, without
Mm-hmm.
any, like, there was no real stress or anything to it. I would do like an hour of that and my voice would be shot. So
Yeah.
even if you're trained, 4 hours must be murder. And to
Right.
have to do like all of the kinds of things that they have to do to really, it's not just reading straightforward. Think about the last video game you played and how many different, my thing is, just think how many different types of screams there are from one character when they die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and all those are recorded usually in the same session. And
Right.
that's got to be killer. And if I go back to watching I Know That Voice, which was DiMaggio's little documentary. It's a fantastic documentary about voice actors. But because he voiced, I forget whoever it was in Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember they're all growly and gravelly, and imagine doing that for 4 hours. And
Right.
yeah, I know they get paid, but that's, you gotta have some time to rest on that, man. So looking at what their list was, I did not think they were being unreasonable in the slightest. And the studios and everybody just kind of said, well, we think you are being unreasonable. They said, all right then, good luck.
Right.
So
So,
they're
if you could tell me the list, I don't have that in front of me, and I've only heard bits and pieces. What's the bullet points of what they're?
let me find it here.
Why you look for that? Why you look for that? One thing that I found extremely interesting, and this did, like you, I'm almost certainly on the side of the union and whatnot. There are some things that I did hear where I thought, you know what, that doesn't make sense. Some of the things they wanted, but that's why I want to hear the list. But one thing that did make sense is, apparently some of them were doing voice work. They would get hired on for a job, not knowing the game, not knowing what it was for, not being told what it was for, just be told to read lines in a specific manner. And then suddenly you realize, oh, I just did work for Fallout 4. And you didn't, you would think going into a project, that doesn't happen with movies or TV shows. When you go audition for those things, you're told you're auditioning for Star Wars. So you know what you should ask for pay, and you know what you should be negotiating for, all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But for video games, when you're auditioning for something and you got a part, and suddenly you're doing voiceover for something and you still don't even know the title's name because of the secrecy,
Exactly.
and then you find out it makes millions because of how much because of its Fallout 4. That sucks. That's weird. That doesn't happen in television or film. You at least know, oh, okay, well, I'm auditioning. This is for the new Star Trek show or something. Like it's not a big surprise where you actually find out much later. Oh, well, I could have asked for more money, or I could have, gotten something else, or I could have made that a priority over something else.
Right.
Um, yeah, because you don't know. So I thought that was extremely weird and rare because you don't find that in any other industry. That it would make sense that that would be one of the things they would fight for, is to like, okay, we need to know the projects. The secrecy thing is it's way too. There's no other business that does that, and I get why companies would want to keep their cards close to the vest, but that's why you sign what the NDAs or whatever they're
NDAs,
called.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
simple, you won't talk about this project. Okay, fine. Like
right.
that's not, it's not like that's a brand new thing.
And it's not like we don't know that there's a new Elder Scrolls that's going to come out eventually, and Fallout eventually, and Grand Theft Auto eventually. Like it's even if that stuff leaked, we knew Red Dead forever. It's still not going to. I don't think knowing that Red Dead Redemption was going to eventually happen. Like let's say it leaked, and it did. Didn't like a map leak like four months ago?
Something like that, yeah.
If something leaked and said, "Hey, I just did voice work for this new Red Dead game," it's not going to ever once take away a sale. It's not going to make someone go, "Well, I guess I'm not going to buy that." If anything, it'd make people go, "Oh, there's one coming down the road. I'll keep paying attention for it." I don't know. I just think that's so odd.
So they've got, all right, I've got it up here.
Okay.
The first one here, this surprised me because I forgot about this. There's no royalties for video
That's the
games.
one thing where I don't know if I agree with,
Really?
because there's more into that character than just the actor,
Well,
the voice actor.
I get that, but the actor is an integral part of that.
Right, but who gets the royalties to I don't know. Something.
On screen, the actor. There's there
Is
are
it the actor
there are
that gets it?
there are residuals for everything else.
I guess.
I mean, this is,
Uh,
you're talking about like a songwriter. Every time somebody goes out, every time that entire Chevy campaign with Like a Rock, they made massive money on that because that's royalties. That's what
right.
you get a royalty check for when you're merchandise. See, here's a great example. This is what CM Punk started his fight with WWE over. Was
So should the designers get royalties as well? The people who created the character and animated them?
I that's the interesting thing about that is does that is that work for hire, or is that just part of what you're expected as part of the company? Actors are a kind of outside contractor. They're kind of independent contractors that are brought in to do this thing. They're not in house. There's a
Yeah.
there's a
I feel like
different
I don't know. I mean, I guess this is kind of, well, hey, if you're getting it, shouldn't we be getting it kind of argument,
but
but that I'm making, but
but that's part of the and that's tricky. I agree because that's a difference between being an employee of a company and being somebody else brought in from outside. And you don't get this with everywhere else. Nobody's dragging somebody into McDonald's to help make muffins. But
and to
but
be fair though, they work on these project to project. They could be gone the next project.
right, but
Um,
but you're a part of this organization.
that's true.
There is a difference between, yeah, I know somebody who's a lead designer on Fallout 4 could next time around actually be a designer on whatever the next Star Wars is at a completely different studio. I get that. But they are hired in the studio. They are part of excuse me,
Right.
they are part of this team. Whereas actors are specifically brought in, they're not part of the team. They are an outside contractor brought in to do this. And there is something to be said that they do bring their own kind of spin to these things. They do leave a piece of themselves in that character. And
It just
that's
seems like it's more of a village making the character than one person, like an actor. That's all. Does that make sense?
I, I,
Like,
I, I see that, and I understand, and that is a good point. It is a good point because it's not. You're right. It's not just an actor, and it's not
Right.
just and that
And
also.
I don't want to take anything away from what they're doing because they are a major part of it, but that's the one thing that I heard that I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I would side more onto the actor side for that, but that's the one where I guess I just don't know enough about that side of the industry to.
Well, and here's the other thing, is that they're not looking for one like per every copy sold. They want bonuses at every 2 million copies sold.
Wasn't there a whole hullabaloo about a game not too long ago where they were 1% off and they didn't get the royalties? And I think it was a Bethesda game. Maybe it was Fallout as well. I could be wrong. There was a game not too long ago where they really got screwed because they were 1% off and the studio refused to pay them more.
See? And
Yeah,
that's and here's another thing. How many games will use it's not just voice, but there's also motion capture. And
right.
there's
That's
and
true.
or if nothing else, a scan of the actor's face.
And I
How
guess this is more future proofing, so that because moving forward, we're going to see more and more games like Uncharted.
right.
Yeah, where you're watching the game, you're playing the game, and for a moment you're like this is you're seeing the complete portrayal of the character, and you can tell it's all motion captured.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so you've got that, and there's a cap at 8 million. If your game sells 8 million copies, I mean, Jesus, man, pay the people. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's when you've made some mad bank. At 2 million copies, you have got to be starting to turn a profit at the very least. And
Here's
it's every 2 million. It's 2, 4, 6, and 8, and it doesn't go beyond 8. If your game sells more than 8 million copies, then damn, you know.
here's what I see happening. I see them getting it, and I see the price of games going up.
I,
Um,
I think if they decide to do that, then fuck them, because
No, no,
that's
it's about
garbage.
time though. Honestly, the games they've been the same price for a few years now. It's actually pretty low. That's one thing that I've heard from a lot of people within that industry is saying, guys, there is so much more they put into games today than they were, you know, 8 years ago,
Yeah,
10 years ago, and it's the same price. That it's they are shocked that it's stayed the same. We'll talk more about this when we get back. We're gonna take a quick break though. We'll get more back into this. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And before our break, we are talking about uh, the I was gonna say the strike that's going on, and
yeah.
we're kind of talking about the prices and whatnot. I could totally see them raising it $10
I
for AAA games.
I think that would be an easier argument to make if it weren't for the prevalence of microtransactions. I think
That's true,
I think
but
that kind of blunts that argument a little bit.
yeah, I guess I'm just saying don't be surprised because if the cost of making the games are going to be going up because of things like this, I would not be shocked in the least if suddenly a game is $70 for a AAA title. I actually love the idea now that we are getting more titles that are $20 and
Yeah,
$10.
and there's your backside to that. That may finally be what gets the return of the budget title. We
Right,
may finally start seeing a bunch more $40 games that way.
right. I'm just saying the AAA titles, just like movie ticket prices, they skyrocketed over the last 10, 15 years, but video games has not, and it's been the same progression. I think they've made the same you know changes in the way we see it and the way we view it and the way we play it, and yeah, no, I think the AAA titles, it's gonna have that. Any of the, and I hear that constantly from the people from like Giant Bomb and Kind of Funny. They're like, we are right on the edge of that happening. They're shocked it hasn't happened this generation. If anything, I guess it would happen in the next generation. That would be the smoothest way to kind of go, okay, now we're going to do $70 games. And who knows, maybe that does make people not want to purchase them anymore. But
I think because I get it from a business standpoint because I do there are a lot of great points there, But
Yeah.
looking at it from, if you will, from just a dumb consumer perspective, you have to pay $30 for a season pass. You can, or in some people's estimations, have to pay who knows how much in microtransactions to keep up. Like you're putting $100 into the game already.
Well, I don't think they see it like that. I think they say $60. That's the game. That's the game we envisioned, and here's this extra stuff if you want to pay for it.
I don't. Yeah, I think that they see it that way. I don't think that consumers see it that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't. The only season pass I think I've ever purchased. No, I bought two. I bought a Mortal Kombat one, and I bought uh the Star Wars one.
Yeah, you
And the
bought the
Star Wars
Battlefront
was
one, didn't you?
ridiculous. Jesus, and now it's like
And now you feel
40 bucks
pretty
for the whole
stupid,
thing.
don't you?
No, I don't feel stupid. I've enjoyed it. I don't look at it the same way a lot of other people do, where they're like they have to put a price on, how many hours did you get? When it came out, dude, I've been clamoring for a new Star Wars game since how long?
Yeah.
I don't regret a thing. I've been loving it. I've been playing it. I've been playing all the different missions, the Death Star one. Like it is, I've enjoyed the hell out of it. I do feel a little robbed that it's now just $40 for the whole thing, but whatever. I mean,
But
what am I
it's
gonna do?
it's what it's a year after. Like that's kind
It's
of that's to be expected, I think.
it is it's absolutely to be expected. It's same thing when I bought Evolve, and now I mean, and I see now that they're not even supporting the game anymore. So, and I think it's free, right?
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
went free to play when they kind of rebooted the whole thing, really.
Right,
And
and
evidently
this
that
is
didn't work out too well for him.
right. And we've been around long enough to know that early adopters, people that are in the gate first, are usually burned. Same thing with the VR. Like I'm sure 3 years from now, there's going to be a wireless one that has the same things as a Vive, where it knows where you're at in the room and all that other stuff. And I'm sure I'm going to look back and go, why did I drop that on
It's
on
gonna
the
come
first?
with the PS5. And it's gonna be stylized. It's not gonna be PS5. It's gonna be PSV, and then there's gonna be an R in there somewhere. Like they'll find a stylized way to do it. Like that's gonna
Right.
be it moving forward.
Yeah, well, here's the thing though, and that's one other thing I kind of wanted to talk about. We got some time. We don't. There's some other things on the news. We'll get to the Switch and whatnot, but that's one thing about the VR. I kind of came to the conclusion that it felt like it did feel like the first time I got an HD television. It felt like the first time I got my own gaming PC. It felt like when I got the PlayStation 4, it was like, here's something new and different. Or the first time I got a 3DS or the Wii. You know what I mean? It was like a different way to play. But at the same time, I don't think anything is ever going to take away from the traditional style of playing with the controller and looking at a screen. There's something relaxing to that. Um, you know, where you're not having to like put on, even though putting on the headset and everything else, it was way smoother than the Vive. But I don't think anything's ever going to take away from that moving forward. I think it's just going to be this extra, like, at least that's how it feels right now. It's like, here's this, I don't want to say peripheral because that sounds bad, but it's like, here's this extra thing where you can play these other games over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because Connect and Move were kind of on the same trajectory, just in terms of like it's not an add-on, it's a whole new thing, and
Right.
didn't it's a lot of this depends on just how much third-party support, especially you're going to get going forward.
Yes, bingo. So that's the thing. They have to master, I think they mastered games where you're in cockpits because that's the perfect thing. I honestly wish they would have done a Batman tank game because it would have been perfect. The Batmobile game in this
Yeah.
thing, like when I play Battlezone, that's one that I haven't purchased yet, but I absolutely want. In the demo, I tested it, and the best way I can explain it is it is like a Universal Studios ride where you're sitting in the physical car And so you see your car, it's stationary, you're inside of the tank, but everything else is moving out around it. And so like it was by far one of the best experiences I had with it because, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You're stationary in it, you're looking around though, and it's as if you're looking around in your tank. You're shooting the tanks ahead of you. You have a uh, a map down at the bottom. There's things coming out in the air, but it doesn't make you sick. The controls are super easy, and it's fun. It reminds me of old school arcade games, which I guess makes sense because it was an old school arcade game.
Right.
Um, and those type of experiences I see really taking off. I think you have to. I don't know. You have to kind of change. I don't want to play big AAA titles in this though, if that makes sense. I don't want to play the next Uncharted in this. I don't want to play Assassin's Creed in this. Oh, I guess Assassin's Creed would be a little bit cooler, but I want more games like that, like arcade style,
I'm
where
Yeah, I'm okay with the idea of like, here's the way you can play a game, or if you play it in first person mode, you have a VR option.
that's true.
Like
That's true. I like the idea of what they're doing with Star Wars. They're putting you in an X-wing. That makes perfect sense.
right.
Doing where you're a person running around would not make sense in VR. Not yet, at least.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
it's really and the things that surprised me the most was the third person view. Rez is by far one of the best games I've played on it. And it is this weird, it's hard to explain. It's like what I imagine people in the 80s thought hacking looked like.
Okay.
Where it is so I can't even think, it's like hackers. It's like it is you're behind this wire uh person, and he's flying through the air, and you are attacking all these targets that are coming out at you, and it's all wireframed, and then it changes, and then the world morphs around you, and it's super super hard to explain without just go look at Res. I think it's Res Infinite, the VR whatnot.
Okay.
Go look at the YouTube video of what that is, and when you're experiencing it in the VR, it's really cool. And that was one of the things that made me go, this is something you could not do in it would not pay off in a regular screen.
Right.
There's no way that people, it's just the way you have to move your head and neck around and aim at things, and it would not be the same experience sitting down in front of a television. And those are the kind that I want to play in the VR, the ones where it takes me away from those kind of games where I'm like, that's the only way I can play that game. And I want, and I'm the minority here, but I absolutely want those, more of those experiences where if I have the Uncharted or whatnot, those are that I want to sit back on the couch and relax and dive into. But yeah, like you said, having experiences or the option would be cool.
Yeah. Which
Um,
there's how your price goes up, because I know that's got to be expensive as hell.
oh yeah, yeah.
To
Add that, and I think they're starting to do that. I mean, the new Tomb Raider, that they have that. If you buy the Tomb Raider game, you get the VR experience with it, where you're exploring her house.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. So hopefully the next Star Wars game and the next Batman game, or Justice League or whatever the heck they're doing. Hopefully they come with VR experiences where you can jump in and play around with. And if you have one, let people play it. That's one of the biggest things I've learned, is that people have no idea what to expect when they've never done it before. And when they get in there, they're like, oh shit. Like I had someone do the London heist, and they're shooting, they're shooting at the cars next to them, they're shooting at the motorcycle, they're shooting, and they're the way he said it was like, I didn't think that like the depth would be there. And I'm like, yep, that's one of the first things I noticed, is that the guy sitting next to you feels like he's sitting the right distance from you. The cars in front of you feel the right distance in front of you. It does, you completely forget, your brain tricks you into thinking you're looking at a screen.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Nice.
I'm really glad I got it.
And you know what I could see really working here?
Hmm.
Racing games.
Well, see, I heard that there is one for it.
There's, what is it? Is it it's not Drive, it's the Crew, right?
I thought it was Drive Club.
Or it may
Maybe
be
it is.
it may be Drive Club.
I heard it wasn't that good though.
Really?
But it doesn't mean that racing games would not be good. But yeah, no, I could totally see racing games being perfect for this, like uh, like a NASCAR or something.
That would you want a NASCAR experience? There you go. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's
I
how
could
you do
absolutely
it.
see that being cool. Apparently, I guess it wasn't good the way uh, it just looked. And that's the other thing is you have to set your expectations with with the VR, because it's not you're not looking at. I think the ads are a little misleading because they don't really show you the the quality. When the Batman one, you literally, it shows an actor falling into the
Right.
Batman. The It's almost like going from PlayStation 4 to like a PlayStation 3.5. Because it's not it's not the full high resolution. There's maybe a little bit of a screen door effect, but it's hard to explain because as much as I'm saying this, at the same time you're completely immersed in the world and there's no describing that to you. When Batman opens up, you are playing out the death of your parents. So you're looking all around the alley, and the alley feels gigantic because you're a child, and your parents are standing next to you, and I can't explain it. I can't. You look behind you, the alley's behind you, and there's water dripping, and there's a cat running, and you look forward, and the guy's in front of you coming with the gun, and then you see your dad fighting with it. Like, it is completely immersive, but at the same time, it is not mind melting graphics that are gonna it's hard to explain.
Right.
But that's a few generations down the road. You know what I mean?
Well, I
That's
here's something I wonder. Does the PS4 Pro fix that?
it might, and this is why I feel that the non-realistic games look the best.
Because they
This
don't
is
have to be. Yeah.
They don't have to be. This is why the stylized. This is why Nintendo games look amazing on the hardware they're on, because they're not realistic. They are stylized. They're more cartoony, and those,
Exactly.
like Rez and the battle tanks and Battle Zone or whatnot, those all look fantastic in it. The graphic quality doesn't even matter for those. You start to notice when you're playing London Heist and when you're playing the Batman game, you're like, oh, okay, because those go for a more realistic look. But if they had like Batman Beyond in it and it's stylized like the cartoon,
Yeah.
holy shit, like that would be perfect, like you said, kind of like a Telltale. I didn't even think about that. That would actually be really good. So little things like that, like it I it the thing about VR, and I've said this over and over, and I guess I'll kind of end with it there, is that you have to try it yourself. There is no explaining this. There's no way for you to understand what it looks like inside of it without actually doing it yourself. And you'll get an idea. You might go, oh, that's what he's talking about. That's when it might make a little bit more sense, because I'm sure I'm not making that much sense to someone who hasn't tried it. Um, but yeah, no. So I mean, we can kind of move on from that. We got some big video game news. So the NX was officially announced. It is the Switch. Well, first of all, what do you think about the name?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
Especially seeing how it does genuinely switch between what they had 3, 4 different kinds of play modes. Sure,
yeah,
it makes sense. Why not? Why try to be clever? They went from Wii to Wii U, and that was a confusing just catastrophe. So it's just
yeah,
simple. I no problem with that.
yeah. No, I agree. I think it was. The name's warmed on me. I'm warming up to it. I like it. It is much better than like Wii U. No, Nintendo has some really good names, like Nintendo 64 and GameCube and Super Nintendo. Like, they've usually pretty good, except for Wii U. Um, but I like it. I like, and now when I think of the Switch, I hear that clicking sound, and
Yeah.
I think that was the whole idea of them constantly doing that in the commercial. So basically, what we saw is, and I thought it was a perfect way for them to show off how this works, where you could be playing um at your house with your controller, and suddenly you see him take the two sides off of the controller, and then you see him snap it onto uh, the home console and lift up, and suddenly there's the screen, and you have what looks like kind of like a Vita. which is a screen in the middle, and the two sides have the two analog sticks, and the four buttons on each side. I think there was like a menu button, probably like an option button, and then there's two ones that are down below, which I'm not sure what are for. So it's hard to explain, over audio, all of that, but
Right.
go look at the Nintendo Switch. The commercial and everything else is out there. Um, and I liked how he was just sitting. They explained you're sitting on your couch. You got to take your dog out. Boom, click. You're done. You're right at the same screen. You paused it. You clicked it. You went, and he was able to play it on the go, and that's perfect.
That's this. I looked at this and saw the future. And I know how corny and cheesy that sounds, but
Yeah,
this is where we are. This is where we have to be now. There
yeah,
can't be a disconnect between consoles and handhelds anymore. So
right.
having a console that is also that you can take with you, that is it. Nintendo, I think this is kind of what the Wii U was a stepping stone towards.
Oh yeah,
And now they've
absolutely.
got it perfected. I don't care that it doesn't have a touch screen. Like that was something I saw. They're like, it doesn't have a touch screen. I don't care. I'm not a touch screen aficionado. I
Right.
don't give a damn. Um,
The only saving grace to me, which the touchscreen had, was that making Mario looked the most interesting, and they're not going to be able to do that anymore. But whatever, it's okay. We have the 3DS, we can always play that on.
but I looking at and the way that it was funny because then they were like, oh, if you have two players, well, hey, guess what? You have two sticks. So
Yeah,
for
that
certain
surprised me.
Yeah, for certain games, they can be repurposed. And that makes perfect sense because it's going to be games where you're not doing, nobody's going to be playing like Street Fighter this way. I don't think.
Right.
Like that
No,
would.
no, 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 no. This is going to be for like well, they showed it. It was Mario Kart.
Right.
That's perfect. You have a go, you have a stop, you have a button to hit people with,
And you got a
and
D-pad. That's it. That's all. That is genuinely all you need.
yeah. And I think you still have what, like the two triggers on the side or whatnot. But
Right.
but yeah, and the other one they showed was the NBA 2K, and that's kind of perfect too, like little sports games. Um, and again, another thing that's come out since then is that none of those games are officially announced. And like most things, they weren't the actual footage. It was in post they put it on
Right.
the device. So, well, that being said, they did announce, oh, I wish I had the list in front of me. Um, uh,
They.
Third party.
Right. There was a whole big. What I.
Okay,
You got it.
yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole list. There is 505 Games, Activision, Atlas, uh, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Capcom. I'm not going to go through all of them, but like, the big ones: WB, Ubisoft, Unity, Silicon Studio, Havoc, Telltale, Sega, Konami, EA. The list goes on. There's a huge list, but I'm hesitant because I think they did the same list for the Wii U. Um, but level 5, I have so much more faith in this than I did that, because I could see them. This is going to be super easy to port over to. This is going to be something where someone comes out with the new Call of Duty, it can go on all the systems.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like the third party games, it looks like there's going to be a lot of support for this. And the biggest surprise to me was Skyrim being
Yeah, it
shown.
was. I about went through the roof when I saw that because I didn't think that was what I was actually looking at.
Yeah, right. I thought, okay, well, what is this? Is this like some weird, RPG? No, and I was like, oh no, that's Skyrim. That's the Skyrim remastered. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Skyrim on the go. Heck
I,
yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
that surprised the hell out of me, and I loved that. And Bethesda, came out and said we are happy to be partners with them. So, I imagine. I can't imagine that's not going to come out for it.
Yeah.
I imagine it is absolutely going to come out for it. Um,
The confirmed games that we have are the new Zelda, uh, Dragon Quest XI, the new Project Sonic game, and the next Just Dance game. Those are
What
all the
about
ones.
Mario?
Well, those are the ones that are like officially confirmed.
It didn't
The
say Mario.
the ones, hang on, the ones that were shown that are what they've got here in the likely but not confirmed column. New Super Mario, new Mario Kart, Splatoon, 2K17, and Skyrim Remastered.
Right.
And
And did
then
you notice that Mario is collecting rings?
what?
Yeah, in the game, he's collecting rings.
What?
Yeah, you go
No,
watch the commercial again. He's going forward collecting rings.
no, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh hell no.
I thought it was
We're not gonna have like Mario's Sonic Adventure, are we?
I mean, maybe I was looking at it wrong. I could be wrong. It could be coins, I guess. I go back and rewatch it, but I thought that was weird.
I would have called that weird too.
Yeah. I could be wrong though. So please tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, Skyrim on the like, I'm just gonna sit in the cabin and play Skyrim. Like, are you kidding me?
Exactly. Like
Hell yeah.
that's a way you could totally, and that's the perfect kind of game. That's like what 300 hours you could explore all over for, that's amazing, and yeah, and I mean, we'll see, what I'm curious now, and I'm sure we'll find out apparently next year, is the battery life, kind of the specs and stuff like that. And what we get this in March?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that, dude. It's right around the corner. We're gonna be holding this thing in our hands, and I am super excited. I hope Skyrim is a day one. Um, if
I
they
would.
have a Mario and Zelda launch, like, oh, what are the odds of this being bundled with something? You think they're gonna probably bundle the Pro controller with it?
It's gotta be bundled with. I would hope it gets bundled with with the Pro controller, but it's also, I mean, you've got to bundle this thing with a Mario. You,
Here's what I see them doing. I see them doing a $300 price point for just the console, so you can pick it up day one.
fair
And then
enough.
I see them doing a $400 bundle with the Pro controller and Zelda or something, or Mario.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that would be the perfect price for a
Now,
controller in a game.
yeah, now you watch. It'll be like day one will be like split. It'll be like a Splatoon bundle.
Oh no, God
That's
no.
and that would be terrible. It does have to be something new. It's got to be something
Zelda.
new, and it's got to be big. And I think Zelda is the right call.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Zelda definitely. I saw that they're making a new Metroid. A new Metroid game for it. It's in the works.
There we go. See?
So yeah.
Let
And
this
see,
be Nintendo's resurrection, more or less. Because after the
right.
Wii U, like I mean, their stock rating went down. Like
Mhm.
they're not in tremendous shape. Like they're not going bankrupt, but they're they need something, and this,
Yeah.
I think this will absolutely be it.
Yeah. No, I agree. When I was watching the commercial, I was just like, this is kind of perfect. They did everything they needed to do by showing what it is, how it works, and that's all they needed to do. We'll get excited down the road when they announce official titles and stuff like that. When they do I'm sure they'll do what the Nintendo Directs where they talk about it.
Yeah,
But
and here you go. Here's your Pokemon console version.
exactly.
It's just gonna be it's just gonna be the next Pokemon that you happen to be able to play on your TV.
Hmm.
But there you go. Like that's kind
This
of
is what everyone's
it's
been wanting. Yeah.
yeah. It's I know it's kind of a cheat because really you could do the same thing with the Super Game Boy, where it was like, oh, I'm just gonna put my Game Boy cartridge in here and play on my TV.
I totally see Pokemon Sun and Gold being a launch title, or
Moon.
Sun and Gold, Sun and Moon, being a launch title for this as well, for the people who don't already have it for the 3DS,
And
because like you said, there's no touchscreen stuff on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think so. And
Could you
here's
imagine launching? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Imagine launching with Zelda, Mario, and Pokemon.
are you kidding? Knockout? Like, are you kidding me? Everybody's gonna look at that and be like, okay, I have to have this and at least all of these. Like
Right.
like that's it, man. You win. Game over. Like
Do you come
that's
out of the gate that strong, or do you pepper them out?
I think you have to kind of pepper them out,
You
because
have to, yeah.
if you come out of the gate that strong, then where are you for the next like year,
I agree.
realistically?
I agree. I agree. I think Zelda is for sure launch. Um, and then maybe Pokemon, maybe Mario. They hold off. Down the road towards Christmas. You know,
I think definitely Pokemon, because we know it's not going to be able to play physical 3DS games.
right? Yeah,
So
that's the other thing is the Wii U and 3DS are gonna be left behind. I'm
right,
curious about digital stuff though, like,
I think
you
there'll
know,
be digital emulation, because they made it a point to say physical.
right. So like, I mean, that's why I'm curious. I know my digital 3DS games won't play on it, but what about I've purchased Super Mario Brothers
I
a
think
million
I
times.
know, like I hope all the virtual console stuff carries.
Yes, that would be awesome. And that's the thing
Yeah.
we haven't found out, like how much storage is on the device, how much battery life is on the device, how their system's going to work with. Is it going to be like PlayStation and Xbox, where we finally now have a unified, thing? And it should be because there's one console. And that was the best thing about this is, me, I didn't want to buy you. I wanted to buy a Wii U, but I didn't see a point in it when I had a 3DS and I got my
Right.
Nintendo fix there. Now this is taking they're not splitting off their market anymore, their user base. They're now uniting them. So now when you go to the store and you want a Nintendo, if there's one device to get, it's really simple.
And I think the fact that Nintendo, this is a handheld at its heart. You can
Yeah.
tell this was designed as a handheld that can do tremendous things, and you can plug it in and play it on your TV. And that's where Nintendo excels.
Yeah.
I will always maintain their handhelds have always been better
Yeah.
than their consoles.
Oh yeah.
I will absolutely maintain that.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get more into some video game news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And I don't know if there's any closing thoughts you wanted to say about the NX before we moved on, or
Just I It looks great, and I can't wait to see more of it. And it better have a hell of a battery life.
yeah, no, I completely agree.
I did like the way it looked like they were able to set up on like a local network.
Right,
That
yeah, they talk to each other, kind of like the 3DSs can.
right, that was really neat to me. The idea of like instant LAN party.
Right, yeah, that'd be really cool. Like
That's
Mario Kart.
badass. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I could see the community really liking it. I can see that at schools being really, really fun to play.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, you kidding? Everybody, all right,
Yeah,
lunch, whole table, like
yeah,
everybody's
exactly.
playing Splatoon, like
Yep. Yeah, no, and did you see the demographic they went after was not
it
kids,
was
was not
everybody.
families. It was, to me, it seemed more like millennials. It seemed like 20-year-olds,
It
30-year-olds.
because that's kind of where the market share is. Like I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
kids and this and that, blah blah blah, but look, the idea of who's always had the money is teenagers and a little past, and I
yeah. There
think
was
that's
no kids in it at all. Yeah,
right. And I think that was kind of the point of saying, look, you can take this on the go. You're busy. We understand. We know
right.
that you have a life, you have a commute, you have things that keep you off the couch.
Yep,
Don't choose. Take it with you.
yep. On your little road trip, like they showed them in the van playing Mario Kart and stuff together. I was like, that's cool. That, and then the airport and everything else. I was like, they're really gearing this towards teenagers or 20-year-olds and whatnot. And I thought that's smart. That's where you should go. That because that's the audience that played the old school Mario games and want that back.
Exactly. And there's a bit of a casual market share to that too.
Oh, absolutely. The casual people who don't, let's say the people who don't own a 3DS, I guarantee you they would buy something like this just to play the old school games. Be like, oh,
Sure.
you can have Mario and Zelda and all that stuff that I used to play. They would buy it just for that, you
Absolutely.
know. Um, so I thought that was cool. But yeah, no, I mean,
And
we've talked about
and
it.
the
Yeah,
esports. I love that they included esports. I'm not a big esports fan, but I'm not stupid enough to think that that's just a fad. Like that's
oh no. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I thought that was that was one of the bridges too far. I thought was like, come on, a Splatoon like esports thing. But I like where their heads at. I like that
yeah,
their heads in that hey, we can do that too.
exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, we'll see. Well, man, I
And
imagine getting something like a GoldenEye type experience on these things where you can sit around with your friends and play.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's and
So
to
that
be fair, games like a Call of Duty are not going to work as well as they will on a TV because they're designed more for bigger screens. Like
right, right.
that's
Oh yeah, no doubt.
yeah,
I also loved the way the Pro controller looked because it just looked like an Xbox controller.
exactly. Well, it looked like the old Pro controller. Like it was pretty much the
Yeah.
same thing. And that's what it should be. For something like that, absolutely.
What I'll probably honestly do is get the Pro controller and keep the two sides on the screen and put it in and then play with the Pro controller when you're sitting down, and then when you take it to go, you just kind of lift it off the cradle.
Yeah.
That's probably how I'm going to be doing it when I get it.
There
Is
you go.
so yeah. So the Pro controller, it seemed bigger for more. It seemed a little bit smaller when the two were together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and of course the internet blew up with like calling it like a sad puppy and stuff.
Yeah, well.
Did you see that? Like I saw someone actually make like a Sackboy type thing, but with a dog, and the face was the controller, and it looked adorable. It looked really cool. Yeah. But yeah, smart design. This is exactly now. Does this completely? I mean, it's obvious, right? This is going to replace the 3DS.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, 3DS.
Yeah.
This is the merger of handheld and console.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they're not. Last time they were like, "This isn't going. The 2DS is not going to replace the Game Boy. Our beloved Game Boy." And then after a few months, it was gone.
Yeah.
This
No.
is they're united, all of their teams, and that's the other great thing is Nintendo's not going to separate their teams anymore. They're all together. We're not going to have a 3DS group and a Wii U group. It's now all together where
It's now
all,
just Nintendo.
exactly, yeah. And the Mario game is going to be on one system. And now they're not going to split their player base and their games where as before they were. It
Yeah.
seemed like the better titles were actually coming out on the 3DS to me than they were the
Yeah.
Wii U. So.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So that's cool. So, well, I think that's it for the Switch news. Of course, we'll talk about more when stuff comes out, but probably not much more until next year.
Right.
The other one, and this is where I thought on the same day all these trailers came out, they were all about redemption. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good call.
Logan, the NX, and then Red Dead Redemption 2. The trailer finally was released. What did you think of it?
It was good. It was a
Yeah.
it was a fun little trailer. It was an
Yeah,
announcement. Like it wasn't really a game trailer. It was just like, hey, this is a thing.
Yeah, but I loved it though. I loved
Oh
all the
yeah.
little environment
Yeah.
sets and stuff like that. I thought it was perfect. And yeah, I mean, it looks like a Red Dead game. I don't know. Apparently, people were saying that this could be a prequel. I have no idea. So, we'll see. But I thought it looked really good. It's weird. All those things came out on the same day. It's like they probably should have planned that better.
Yeah. Right.
I would have had the redemption. I would have had it. I would have done that on Thursday.
Yeah.
But yeah, got some Star Wars Battlefront news. We talked about it earlier. The Ultimate Edition announced with all DLC priced at $40. That's a steal, I think. If you haven't played the game and you don't own it, and to get the whole thing at once for $40, that's definitely worth it. That's what people were saying it should have been priced at the beginning, with just even the original game,
Right.
because
And
there's no single player.
exactly.
But with all of the content, which includes the Rogue One stuff that comes out, I think in like 2 months, or yeah, in December,
Yeah.
that's definitely worth it. The Death Star stuff, it's not story mode, but you follow a story. You are fighting in this, around the Death Star. You fly into the Death Star. You do certain maps,
Nice.
and you're escorting, and then you escape, and then you do the Death Star trench run. So like, it's not story, but it follows a story.
It's a linear. It's after X goal you proceed to the. It's not just It's not like the rest of them where it's just open map.
Exactly. Yep. And the modes are all like really different. Like the trench, like you have to go down the trench, and your team has to get to certain points, and then you shoot the torpedoes or whatever, and it goes down into into the hole, and you actually see that animation. It
Nice.
goes down in, Death Star explodes, and you either win or you don't.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, it's really cool. The best, like it's all really fun. The job, it's fun to run around Jabba's palace. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I know I'm the exception to the rule. I just loved all that stuff, so it seemed worth it to me. Um, because you're like, hey, what does Jabba's palace look like? You can run all around it, fall into the Rancor pit, and you see the dead Rancor there and rotting. It's so cool. The Bestman stuff's fun, but yeah. So, $40 if you haven't played any of it. That's a great price. Yep. So we got Amnesia. Collection announced for PS4 to release on November 22nd. I've never played that game. Have you?
And I haven't. Evidently, these were like the horror games.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, okay. I've seen this. I've seen YouTubers play this where they get all freaked out.
yeah, that was kind of the big thing. Like it took off on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of the place for that. Um, Last Guardian game finally goes gold with December 6th release date.
Yeah, finally, hallelujah. I will still believe it when I see it.
Yeah, exactly. It looks cool. I mean, didn't we? Who did we see recently play that? Was it Xavier Woods? I think I saw someone playing a demo of it or something, and they were like,
Really
"Oh, they
nice.
played." Maybe it wasn't Xavier Woods. Maybe it was someone else. But um, I remember watching someone playing a demo or something of it, and they were like, "It feels really good to play." So I don't know. I don't. My expectations are extremely low. But those games are fun, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah. And that's where I think it's a good place to be because then I can only be excited. I can only get, have fun with it if my expectations are low. Um, Xbox games for gold November announced. Super Dungeon Bros November 1st through 30th, Xbox One. Murdered Soul Suspect November 16th through December 15th, Xbox One. The Secret of Monkey Island Special Edition November 1st through the 15th, Xbox 360 and One. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. That's a great game. November 16th through 30th, Xbox 360 and Xbox One.
And I love it. The best thing about that is it's a standalone. You don't have to have Far Cry. It's not an expansion. It's its own little spin-off, and it was so
Right.
much fun. It's pure
Oh yeah.
80s. It's absolutely just pure unadulterated 80s, and I loved it.
Oh yeah. Now the PlayStation. Do you know what the PlayStation Plus games are?
I didn't see them. Has that list come out yet?
Um, I guess it says this has been leaked by Asia. I don't know if this is true.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know if this is true. This can't be true. Um, it, it's no, 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 no. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's
Are there
saying Rayman Legends and Watch Dogs. There's no way that's true. Those are two fantastic games.
well,
Those are
but
too big. Those are
well,
too big.
I not really, not really. Rayman Legends has been kind of a free to play thing for a while. It
Is it free
had
to play?
it
I
was
bought it.
they did something like that on the Wii U, if I remember right. They did a free to play version of sorts.
Okay.
So that one doesn't surprise me. Watch Dogs also doesn't surprise me because the sequel's getting ready to come out.
Yeah. No, the Watch Dogs makes perfect sense. Um, yeah, I guess it says it leaked through through Asia the Asia page. Um, I don't know. So take that with a grain of salt. You'll probably find out within the next few days. Um,
Yeah, it
but
should be what next. It's gotta be at some
it's
point
next week.
because yeah, because
So
that's yeah.
it should be announced this week. So probably by the time this goes up, you'll know what games it is. If it is Watch Dogs, if it is Rayman Legends, or if it is both, those are all fantastic games. Rayman Legends is basically their Mario, and it is fantastic. There is so much content. Have you played it,
Which one?
Rayman Legends?
Yeah, yeah.
There is so much content in that game, unlockables, character unlockables, levels, and then like I like an idiot have to get all the little guys in every level,
Right.
so I don't move on to the next one until I get all the little guys. But it is a fantastic game that you can sit down with your family and play. Um, Watch Dogs, hey, free, I'll take it. I know there was a lot of complaints about the first one, but hey, it's free, whatever. A free, open world game like that.
Yeah.
To get you prepared for the sequel. Perfect, absolutely. I'll
I've
put that on my list.
I've got a different leaked list here.
Okay,
Um,
shoot.
Chrono Phantasma Extended, which I've never heard of. Um,
Nope.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which was a walking simulator, basically. And Saints Row 4 Reelected.
Um, Saints Row 4 is fantastic.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
like
the
those.
other. I'm sorry. It was Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasma Extended.
Still have no idea what you just said, but
Yeah, right.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And those
So,
those usually go up on Wednesdays, so it it may be up if we get something before we finish recording here, we'll dive into it. But
yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's that's November's kind of the perfect month to do that in to get everybody excited, uh, you know, for the games coming out.
right.
But yeah, man. So I think that does it for video games. We got some extra news here we can dive into. AT&T company is bidding to buy Time Warner
In
for
in just
85.
yeah. And sorry, I cut you off there. There was more to it.
Oh yeah, no, for $85.4 billion.
Yeah, this is an awful, horrible, terrible idea.
Absolutely terrible.
Because we
AT&T will own Harry Potter.
well, I mean, and DC.
DC Comics.
The
AT&T, a phone company, will purchase DC. It's just terrible.
Not to mention Time Warner Cable, which also just bought what Charter or was just bought by Charter or something.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Oh,
your internet choices are gonna wind up being Verizon or AT&T at the rate
yeah.
this is going, and that's terrible. It's a bad thing, man.
It is terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Monopolies are bad, not just because it
It,
ruins families.
yeah, no, I completely agree. That I don't see how that can actually happen. I mean, that's too big. I imagine that would get stopped, right?
Yeah, it has to go before what is it, the FCC or whatever it is that,
Yeah.
and they have to approve all the different mergers, and they can't do this, man.
No, that would be terrible. That'd be absolutely terrible. I started seeing some of my friends getting notices in the mail from Comcast saying that they have a data limit now at their home.
Comcast has been doing
I
that.
think it's like a terabyte a month. Yeah, a terabyte a
Wow.
month, which apparently is hard to get to, but I could totally see me getting to a terabyte if I got a new console and I was like, oh, I need to download all my games.
Well, here's the thing. If you do, and this is the thing, if you have a family, say you've got two kids, one watches Netflix all day, one plays video games all day, plus whatever you and your spouse do, you're going to hit that terabyte.
Yeah, yeah, that's gonna add up really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're downloading games or movies or whatever. That's I don't know. I hate getting a limit. That's why I have Sprint for my mobile, so I have unlimited, and I mean I have Bright House, which is unlimited data. So oh man, I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
But let's see here. Actually, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get into some of the extra news and some reviews. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and got a little bit more news to talk about. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have any more. You're gonna have to take it.
You got okay, yeah. We've got the Resurrection line at Marvel. They've announced some of the new X-Men titles that they've got coming up. I think we knew about Iceman already from last week.
Right.
But now we've got Generation X, Cable, and they're bringing back the Gold and Blue teams.
Yes, that's
Each
awesome.
and each one of them is getting their own monthly.
Cool, 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 man. I'm excited for that. I like the X-Men. I can't wait for. I I want them to have normal titles again, so I'm not like which title do I need to follow.
Right.
Yeah, X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue. That's easy. That's simple to know. I can look at each team and go which characters do I like, and then go from there. I'll probably pick up both and get a feel of to what they're both like. And take it from there. So yeah, I'm glad. It's always been worrisome with the news with Marvel and Fox and how you know Marvel wanted to like remove the X-Men. It was disheartening because that's why I got into Marvel comics, and so
Yeah.
it's good to see them back. And hopefully better than ever.
Yeah.
We got some Invincible Iron Man. news here?
Yeah,
Variant
this
cover.
yeah this was interesting. The for the new Invincible Iron Man, one of the variant covers for issue 1 is going to have Ariel Johnson on it. She is the first, no, is it first black female comic shop owner, and
Oh, okay, that's cool.
yeah, she opened a place in Philadelphia called Amalgam Comics and Coffee House,
Oh, nice. So
and
they're
that
paying homage to her. That's awesome.
yeah, that's very cool.
That is really cool. Awesome. Uh, let's see here. You go ahead and take the next one.
Yeah, just a quick little aside. In 2017, the story of Baron and Luthien from all the Middle Earth stuff is going to get its own release. It was originally it was one of the stories in like Tales of Middle Earth, or like some little anthology collection, but now it's getting its own
Mhm.
release. I thought that was neat.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Let's see here. What else? Do we got any more news, or are we going to go into reviews?
I think that's it for news.
All right, all right. So let's get into some reviews. What should we do first? Walking Dead, Flash, WWE. By the way, everything's going to be spoiler on from here on out. Um,
Yeah,
we'll
big
kind of give
time,
a little heads up. Yeah, but
big
it's going to be
time.
big time spoilers. So if you need to check out, check out. We'll see you guys next week. If not, stay in. But yeah, man, Walking Dead.
I loved the way that they swerved it.
Yeah.
Like they
Oh
had
yeah.
their cake and ate it too.
Just when you felt like, oh, okay, so that's not that bad of a loss. A little part of me was like, well, that was a little disappointing because I wanted someone bigger,
Right,
but
that
at the
was
same time, I was a sigh of relief.
yeah. And then
And then,
no.
oh, and then it's just like, oh, no, and then afterwards, it makes sense. They had to do it,
Yeah.
and God, was it disgustingly close to the image in the comics.
Yeah, big time. Have you seen all the backlash about it?
People getting grossed out.
Well, just how many different groups are like they've gone too far.
I imagine. I honestly thought the same thing too. I didn't think they could have done that on television, and I could. I honestly understand why people would be grossed out by that, but that's the point. It's The Walking Dead. Like, that is the whole idea of the show, is that these people can go at any time, and it is going to get gross. I honestly was disgusted by it. I didn't want to watch it anymore. Not to say I don't want to watch the show. I absolutely going to tune in next week, but it made me uneasy. It made me grossed out. It made me sad. But that is the whole idea
That's
behind this.
right, and that's the
It,
point of this character. Like he does, for all of his talk about fairness and everything and keeping to his deals, he revels in the violence.
right, right. And if I didn't care about the characters, we would have a whole bunch of people complaining they're leaving the show because they don't care about the characters.
Right.
And so, to see what happened to Glenn was just disturbing. You should be disturbed. That is not a normal thing to see or view. And I imagine honestly, a lot of my friends, it made them sick to the stomach, where they're like, I don't know if I want to watch it anymore. And I was like, that's fair, but that's the point. You should keep that in mind, that if it didn't make you feel anything, it would also be terrible. It would be even worse.
Right.
And that, the actor's still alive. He's gonna move on and do great things. And he had this fantastic job. Don't come back to reality for just a minute, and realize that these guys are having a great time. They're enjoying themselves, and they're telling a story, And so, as much as it was disturbing to see, and I imagine it was, if it disturbs you that much, don't watch it anymore. Honestly, there's so many people that do. It's not going to change. From the show being canceled or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty safe at this point. So I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was a really good episode because it did make me completely grossed out and uneasy. And I honestly thought, well, now they've done two. What's to stop him from doing Maggie? What's stop him? And then with Rick and his son, I thought for sure he was going to cut his hand off.
That was the part that made me the most uneasy. Like
Yeah.
I'm not one much for gore. Like it doesn't, like it really doesn't sit well with me. But like that was there and over. You could turn away and they're like, okay, they've cut to something else. That whole sequence was what really disturbed me. And
It really was.
that was where you got to see, this is who Negan is. This is where we're gonna
Right.
go from here.
Yep, and the decisions that you would have to make, and it's like, who could ever make that decision to cut off your son, only living heir, in this world, cut off his arm, and it's like, and the balls on his son, where he's just like, just do it,
Just
you
do
know,
it. Like
God.
yeah,
Like, save everybody, take my arm. Gladly take. That's the way it felt like. He was like, take my arm to save everybody. This isn't a choice, just do it. Like, good lord. Like, I think people have a little bit more respect for Carl now, where it's like, oh man, yeah. So, and then Rick, he's completely broken.
yeah.
He's completely broken in, and that was the whole idea. That was the whole idea behind it. Um, and to Negan, it's pretty smart to break, a group like that. But it's not over. There's a lot more to come. This isn't the end of Nick versus Regan or Regan Negan. So you'll see down the road. There's a lot more to come, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only got a few more minutes. I didn't watch the Flash, but you could talk about it in.
It was good. There was some interesting moments. There was a really great comedy moment between Wells and Cisco that
Oh,
was
nice.
fantastic. There was like a quick little 30 seconds that was just hysterical. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I feel like we've missed a lot of Cisco this season.
He's back. He's back in a big bad way today.
Okay,
He
good,
oh yeah.
good, good,
Yeah, Cisco is
good,
and
good.
in rare form, big time. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, good, good. That's what I look forward
Yeah,
to. Yeah. No, I
you'll
mean,
yeah.
Tuesday I was just exhausted. I watched the World Series and went right to bed. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But that was good. It
Well,
was
we got a few
good.
more minutes. You
Yeah.
want to talk about?
Yeah, we'll talk WWE real quick. Really, there was just Raw this week. I didn't get to see
Okay.
SmackDown last night. So I don't know if there was any more No Chin music, but
I think he teamed up with Dean for something, but yeah, I was watching the World Series. I'll
nice.
catch up on it this week though.
Yeah, I mean, Raw was okay. From what I'm seeing, SmackDown, like, I loved how, like, the image I saw was like Negan in front of the group, and Negan's head was the SmackDown Live logo, and everybody else's head was the Raw logo. So
Yeah.
evident, like, they're all saying like SmackDown was so good last night.
Well, the thing is I feel like we've seen the same matches on Raw a million times now.
Right,
That's
and
the problem with the split. I think is, as much as I like it, we're seeing the same matches over and over and over and over and over. It's always the same people. They really need to pump in some new talent. They really got to bring some from NXT now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
And here's the interesting thing. They are trying to build stars, and I think maybe they overestimated the draw that some of them would have. Because I noticed there was no Nia Jax this week.
oh really?
I don't even think there was. I don't even think she was there last week, was she?
I don't think so. No.
She had her match against Alicia Fox at, what was it, Clash of Champions,
Yeah.
and I don't think she's been on TV since. I don't think. Um, I kind of like the Sami Zayn Braun Strowman thing, just
Yeah.
because it shows, like, when Sami Zayn took off around the ring and Strowman almost caught him.
Right.
Like, that freaked me out. A guy that big should not be able to run that fast.
Right. Right. Right.
That was terrifying.
And Sami Zayn
Um,
knows how to put on show. I've seen some behind the scenes with him where the psyche he gets into before a match, where he has to, like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this. This would be great if we both did that, and he's totally into that. And you can
oh yeah,
tell in a match
yeah.
when, like, he gets everybody excited and pumped and throws his hands up. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like we're seeing the same tag team matches.
I think
They're doing everything
yeah.
but Enzo and Cass versus New Day. I think, like, everyone's fought each other besides those two, and maybe they're saving that for later this year.
Maybe, but I
But
agree with
I don't
your
know.
point.
I
Like,
feel like this.
we've got to spice it up a little for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen Jericho and Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins for, like, the last 4 to 5 weeks in the same exact match. So they got to spice that up a little bit.
Yeah, I think we see some changes after Hell in a Cell, and then some big changes after Survivor Series for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we got to get out of here. We're taking out. Make sure you go to our website. Well, I mean, our Facebook group, We Geek Podcast. We Geek Podcast. Or, I'm sorry. the Podbean. What's the URL?
It's just wegeekpodcast.podbean.com, I think.
There we go. Our Facebook group, We Geek Podcast. Our Twitter, at We Geek Podcast, at The Logan Witt, at Adam Estep. And that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Captain.
Captain.